Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. Thank you so much for being live unannounced a little bit because I didn't have time to promote the show today. So we're counting on everybody to spread the word and to let them know that we're live right now. So we kindly appreciate your support. Drop us a thumbs up. Drop us a comment. I will reach you all today. But well, ladies and gentlemen, today we are live, and I think Orlando City has clawed their way through these last three games left, with the playoffs locked for the sixth straight year. The hunt is definitely on for that four seed. I'm not sure if we will be also seventh place, but I don't believe that that's going to be our story. I think these last three battles left are very important. And that's why the title of the program today is There's Three More Finals to Play. And every point is a roar that echoes louder than the last. Home field advantage in the round one best of three, where our wall can become the 12th man again. Literally, it's what's going to separate the season for Orlando City. First, we're going to be facing Columbus, and we're going to be discussing Columbus for sure. Um, we're also going to talk about what happened with Cincinnati, but first, we have to face Columbus coming up, black and gold, sitting at 50 points, hungry. They are a offensive precision machine, which it feels like sometimes we're not. But we got Ojeda's magic, 16 goals, 14 assists. And then we have Vancouver, the Whitecaps on a roll, 55 points. Fellow Peruvian, Kenji Cabrera, newcomer there for the Whitecaps. Thomas Mueller, right? Schlegel and Jensen, they got to be on the lock for particular game. And Galese needs to have another magical night as he did against Cincinnati. Finally, Toronto, the Reds. They are always against Orlando, at least sort of dangerous, but we've danced with them before. So Maguire needs to have another golazo against Toronto, and Pasalic as well. Why not? Um, we need to win these next three games, and we need to definitely show why we are a top team in the East, and we certainly are. There's a lot of ups and downs, but we will definitely discuss them tonight. So drop us your comments, your thumbs up. My name is Luis Carlos Pereira. If you're first joining here, this is Loud and Proud Orlando. I'll be your host today. Unfortunately, John is on vacation, and I think Paola can make it. So I'm writing solo, and I want to thank you for being here with me today. So let's go ahead and just kind of dive in and read some comments from the gecko. Let's see here. Uh, the Peruvian isn't good at all. Maybe in the Peruvian league, but not MLS. LOL. Well, you don't know yet. I mean, he just arrived. You cannot make an assessment just by looking at one player. It doesn't matter from which Latin country you are. Yesterday, for example, Echenique, not even his mom knows who he is. No one in Venezuela knows who he is either. But he played a tremendous game. So, it's too soon to judge a player. The same thing was said about Martin Ojeda, and look at Martin Ojeda now. So I think you got to give it time. Some players take a while, and I think Orlando knows that it takes a while for some players to adjust to the league. Vinco Ramos says, I expect positive results in Orlando City's upcoming matches. Hopefully, my friend. Thank you so much. Guille Carlos Spicer, that is all we need to discuss. He's okay. I mean, I think he's a great winger, but I like the fact how Oscar is properly using him. I would hate to see him start, and I think Oscar's knowing Oscar and obviously, kind of covering Oscar for a long time. I feel Angulo is his guy, and this season, Spicer is going to play as a starter when either Angulo is hurt, when Angulo has a knock, or or Orlando's playing against a flimsy defense that are able to cause some damage. They say, John, if there was a Ballon d'Or for foodie podcasting, you would win first place, my friend, for being welcoming and nice to us day one, USL fans. There you go. Thank you, Stream Jesus. There you go. So thank you for your support. We're going to continue reading your comments down the road, but let's just kind of talk about what happened against Cincinnati. Definitely, we learned a lot of things. Orlando City went on the road and they salvaged a 1-1 draw against FC Cincinnati, a late equalizer by Alex Freeman, which is having a tremendous season. And it was a stolen point, 110%. It is tough to play in that particular stadium. Cincinnati fans were rowdy and as loud as the wall has ever been. It was a pretty engaging match. It's actually a very good match. There's a real argument that it definitely can be made that Orlando deserved to win those 3 points. I think Orlando at some point in the first half, if Duncan would have not missed that and they would have taken their shots, Orlando could have been up 3-0 easy. I'm going to say this. The late equalizer and a point on the road, it was impressive. Impressive because it was a very late equalizer. I was ready to throw that game away, be honest with you. It was a very frustrating match in which, again, the Lions could have walked out with 3 points. And poor finishing, again, plagued the team. And this has happened. I mean, right now, the cohesiveness of the team is tremendous. It's a cohesive unit. The problem is putting it on the back of the net. It seems that there's bad juju. Either they're practicing or not practicing enough, or they're just totally missing because they don't have the quality. It could be either or. But you're talking about Martin Ojeda, Duncan Maguire, Luis Muriel, Adrian Marin, Robin Jensen, all had golden opportunities to really score. And all they did was send in their shots off target. Orlando then had some counterattacks through the flanks. I think they did a really good job to piss off Evander. He got a yellow card. But as I mentioned also with my friends from Cincy Talk, and which is a Cincinnati podcast, but I suggest you guys check out. I told them, Orlando is going to suffer from Denke. Denke is a really good player. They were overlooking the fact of Denke. They thought Brenner and Evander was going to be it. Brenner also had a couple of chances that he missed tremendously. Pretty much could have beat Galese, and Galese had a monster game. So for all Galese haters, you guys can, you know what I mean? But either way, I think that, if Orlando would have scored those chances, we would have been talking about a 3 points in the bag for Orlando City, beating Cincinnati in its own home turf, and them saying bye-bye to the Shield, which I definitely think that they're probably not going to make the Shield. It's just my opinion. um, it would have been a different story. Now, credit to Hagland. I thought Hagland was going to be a terrible center back. He was switched. He was substituted on in the second half, but I do believe that Miles Robinson, Nick Hagland, they also, you got to give them credit for their defending in this game. Regardless, um, just luck wasn't there for Orlando. It's either luck or just not good precision whatsoever. I mean, that goal that Duncan missed, you just cannot miss. I mean, sorry, I know I'm going to sound super rough and maybe super mean, but if you're a number 9, you cannot miss those type of goals, bro. I mean, you're right there. That's the difference between, you know, um, being a true 9 or just, you know, just not being a very good 9 at all. Same with Luis Muriel. I feel like Luis Muriel, I don't know what he was doing. Also, that whole meme that they started talking about Schlegel saying, please, please, please don't give me a red card. Don't take me out. He was saying, don't take me out. Please don't give me a card. Pleading on the cam. People say, oh, it's a bad take. Oh, look what he's doing. Bro, you guys don't even play with your you guys don't even play with your and you guys are talking to a professional freaking player from an MLS team that he should not be doing that. I think that what he did was because he knew a yellow card. I mean, it could have been taken if the referee was super rough and the Cincinnati player, I think the Cincinnati player failed on selling that tackle, and just because of that, and also he got a yellow. But if it would have been more of like a stern type of by the book referee, he could have easily gotten a red card. And I think that's why he thought it was going to happen. And he didn't want that. He didn't want a red or a yellow because now Rodrigo Schlegel won't play against Columbus. He has yellow card accumulation. So that's the reason why he was looking so, bleeding for mercy from the ref. So let's read some comments. Let's see. Miles Robinson is a beast, says Guia Carlos. That's right. Yeah. I would love to have him in Orlando, 100%. But again, I feel like Orlando had so many chances. Orlando in this game missed, and I wrote it down, 4 to 5 high quality chances. 10 total shots on goal, only 6 on target. Some of the biggest misses, as I already mentioned, just to kind of reiterate this, was Luis Muriel when he fluffed one on the one-on-one in the 55th minute. Martin Ojeda firing a wide shot in the 82nd minute. And definitely, goals you don't score, typically, the saying goes, goals you don't score, your rival team scores on you. And in this scenario, Cincinnati was also not good in their finishing. Aside of the Denki opportunity, I think Pedro Galese had a great night. Also, Cincinnati was giving Orlando several set pieces, and Orlando didn't know what to do with them, missing a lot of options. Also, Cincinnati, Denki could have had another goal in the 60th minute, before the one he scored. But this is, I want to be clear here. Orlando's biggest issue in this game against really one of the top teams in the league. I mean, you cannot deny that Cincinnati is one of the top teams in the league and has one of the best attacks in the league. I will say one of the best 1-2 punches. And kudos to Oscar Pareja and his tactical savviness in this scenario. They were able to really make Cincinnati not score the ones that they needed to score. They scored one, which was the goal from Denki, but it's because Denki just kept he wouldn't give up. He didn't want to give up, and I think it's a reward on his resilience as well as a player to continue trying to disrupt Orlando's defense. Now, Alex Freeman, one of the best players in the team, 110%. It's his year. He scored the dramatic equalizer in stoppage time. He was solid defensively um, in certain times, but mainly, if I have to give a percentage, I will say 80-20. You know, I think it was tremendous. I think today Alex Freeman at least, well, yesterday. Then I believe Pedro Galese, 8 saves to keep Orlando in the game. I think it was his night as well. I think Galese deserves a statue outside Intercoast Stadium. Um, if he decides to continue his career and retire in purple, which I think people could agree that he would love to retire in purple. And Pedro, without a shadow of a doubt, a great game. For Cincinnati, I'll say Kevin Denke. I think Kevin Denke to me was was one of the best players in that team. He is the one who really Orlando was going to be busy with Evander, was going to be busy with Brenner, and spaces for a Denke to hit shots from distance was an obvious choice, and that's what we saw. Tremendous forward, great job by the squad, by the scouts in FC Cincinnati. I draw a lot of parallels, and when I talk to my friends from Cincy Talk, which I would recommend you check out the episode. It's actually in our Twitter. I retweeted the video, the interview that I had with them. I mentioned this in there, and I say, Kevin Denke is going to be the X factor here for you guys in this game, because I guarantee you, Pareja has studied you guys and knows that the emphasis is going to be put on Brenner and Evander, but there's going to be one. I don't really believe that Orlando's defense is going to hold off those three powerhouses throughout 90 minutes. So one is definitely going to slip through, and Lord and behold, one slipped through, and it was Kevin Denke, and he looked for it the whole entire game. 4 shots on goal for Kevin Denke, only one goal. And I do want to mention one of the really impressive performance by Echenique, which is the Venezuelan international. Um, Great. Again, great scouting. Look, I mean, with all due respect, if you're not from Venezuela, there's 9 out of 10 times you don't watch the Venezuelan league. You have options to watch La Liga, Premier League, the Italian league, and same is in the smaller countries like Peru, Bolivia, nothing in South America aside of Brazil and Argentina. The rest of the leagues, like even the Ecuadorian league, is growing in numbers, but it's really not that commercial. But how the hell did FC Cincinnati was able to find Echenique? Tremendous player. It reminded me when Yoshi Yotun first arrived to Orlando. He was annoying as hell for the wing of Orlando. He had that whole defensive block. He was a nightmare by the backline for Orlando City. So kudos again to the FC Cincinnati scouting team. And I was talking to Cincy Talk as well, and I was saying, one big parallel, the difference Orlando City than FC Cincinnati, because there's a lot of similarities. It's just that they open their wallet a little bit more. They get players like an Evander, like what's top player with Portland, a Brenner. They get a Brenner back, no problem. A Kevin Denke. They get a pretty good defender like Miles Robinson from the UN's men's national team. So their wallet is a little bit fatter in this scenario. But for us to have this team with, you know, our budget, I think it's tremendous what we've accomplished the past few seasons under Pareja. And I hope, you know, depending on how we look this year, I think it's time to give the people and give the, you know, people in the at the wall and from in the ILF and the hardcore supporters 110%. Give them, you know, players that are MLS ready in key positions, and kind of boost our team. You know, look more like a Columbus or like a Philly or like a Cincinnati. And I think it's possible. Not necessarily you have to get like Inter Miami and getting like Suarez and getting recycled old players, but you can get really good quality, like MLS ready players. You know, like the Galaxy last year got Paintsel, had you know, also Gabriel Peck from Vasco da Gama. So it is a possibility. You just gotta open the wallet a little bit more. Let's read some comments real quick here. Ruben Perez, he says it's time for Spicer. It says Angulo could not help defending and nothing offensively. I disagree. I think Angulo did a lot of defensive work, and that's one of the reasons why Pareja likes to keep him in the starting squad, because against a FC Cincinnati that has a lot of talent, you're gonna need a lot of defending. You're gonna need a winger that's able to come back and forth. There are times that I feel like Spicer it's in La La Land and reacts a little late. And now I feel like he goes into the attack a little bit more vertical, but I think I think the way Oscar is utilizing Spicer is perfectly fine. I think you guys should let the man work, and I think it's time. I don't think it's yet time fully for Spicer. I think the way they're utilizing Spicer is great. Yeah, we missed so many easy goals. It was embarrassing. I wouldn't call this result embarrassing because we've played with one of the teams that's gonna contend for the title. I think I was thinking we were gonna lose. Be honest with you, because I'm like, you know, they missed so many goals, and they're gonna score at least one, and they did. But then, you know, they clawed back. Says Jansen missed the big one. Says Ruben Perez. I agree with you 100%. Schlegel 0 1 the ref's body camera. Schlegel is getting cooked on social media. Oh well, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Who won the tactical battle, Noonan or Pareja? I know this is gonna sound very, you know. Look, Pat Noonan is a tremendous coach. Don't get me wrong. If Pareja ever leaves, 100%, I think Pat Noonan, I think will be great here. Don't get me wrong. Pat Noonan, a lot of these coaches, Wilfred Nancy, these are great MLS coaches. But I think in this particular game, and because of the result, I think Oscar Pareja edged the tactical duel. Noonan's possession-based approach gave Cincinnati definitely control of the mid. But Pareja's adjustments, when he pushed for direct play and set piece emphasis in the final 20 minutes, it kind of exploited Cincinnati's fatigue and then earned the draw. And as you saw, he's putting a full-on, ready to run, ready to rock and roll, lock and loaded Tyrese Spicer, completely fresh, onto a flank that was already depleted and tired. So that means that the coach has observed the flaws of the rival, has done his homework to kind of draw down a plan. I think his ability, at least in this game, to rally the team away from home against really a top side, it tips it in its favor 100%. It was closely contested, don't get me wrong. And I do want to say, I think Pat Noonan is a tremendous coach, but I think Oscar edged the tactical duel in this matter. Now, let's read some more comments here. Oh no, there's no more comments. Well, thank you to all the 20 people watching. Appreciate you guys' support. Make sure you drop the like and you subscribe to the channel. So, in the end, I feel this was a for the opportunities that Orlando had. Uh, the result is probably not what's desired, but it is. It was in the realm of possibilities. It was in the realm of possibilities for Orlando City to lose or tie against this top squad. In this scenario, I think that Orlando got a really good result. Let's look at the standings here. Obviously, you got Philly, which is unstoppable. It's funny because this year, I remember the beginning of 2025, everybody was like, no, Philly's gonna dip. Philly's gonna dip. There's no way Philly's going to, and look at Philly, man. Philly is owning the East 110%. Then it's FC Cincinnati, which now New York City, NYCFC, literally, and Inter Miami have the opportunity to kind of get to that second slot, which we're not going to permit, hopefully. And then you got two teams that have improved season through season due to their signings and their good coaching, Charlotte and Nashville. I think this is although I would love to see Miami dip down and probably in the last place, I think this is very accurate. Now, look what we have right on our coattails is Columbus Crew. So again, another final is approaching. This is another final. This is another six. This is a 6-point game at home in front of our fans. And I feel the squad, whatever people Oscar Breja lines up, which we're going to go through the lineup in just a moment, they gotta treat this as a US Open Cup final, as an MLS playoff final. Like, you're talking about, this is the type of competition you're going to get in the playoffs. And if Cincinnati was tough, I guarantee you Columbus is going to definitely want to kill us because they want to be in our place. We cannot let it happen in our home turf. So whoever is the person who's going to be, more than likely what I see happen is Brecalo as a center back and Kyle Smith as a right back. Kyle Smith's going to be, or maybe Kyle Smith is a center back, and then you got Gervais back. There's a possibility of that happening. We'll discuss that later. But Orlando City with a win. Let's go back here. With a win against Columbus Crew, will have 53 points, and they will be in the fifth or in the no, what am I talking about? It will have 55 points. So it'll be 1 point away from the fourth spot, which hopefully, let's hope, who do the Flamingos face? So Flamingos face New England. Shit. Actually, no, tomorrow they face Chicago. Oh, shit. So, yeah. So we're going to be here in the fifth or sixth seater. I think that's perfectly fine. I can take that. We're going to be literally 2 points away or a point away from the third and fourth spot. That's fine. I mean, when Facu, and again, I want you guys to listen and trace back to your own words. I'm talking about the fandom of Orlando City in the beginning of the season. Oh my God, man, Facu left, man, and they brought me this Pasalic guy. I don't know. I feel a little insecure, man. What's happening, man? And look what happened. Pasalic is one of the top players in one of the best signings right now in the league, 100%. Oh, I don't know if Martino Ojeda can handle it as a 10, man. Facu left a big gap here. Look at the season of Martino Ojeda. you know, um, you can certainly question the Ramiro move, but Duncan just scored a goal and missed one that was like right there. But it is what it is. But I mean, when you have a chance, like if a club comes and offers you 3 million buckaroos, and it's probably the most Ramiro is going to be worth in a long time, you got to take your bet. And I think that's what Orlando did. Probably to spend it next season on a better player, hopefully. But some of the decisions that the front office have made this year are the reason why this team is so cohesively well. Yes, there's a lack of scoring. Yes, there's the inconsistencies on the finishing. But you know the style's still there, and for some of these players, it's probably the first season with Orlando, right? And I truly feel that getting added pieces and kind of terminating some contracts next year, Orlando City could look pretty well, pretty good. Um, to give you guys another piece of news, the owners of Orlando City are trying to buy a second division club in Brazil. I don't remember the name exactly, but I did see an article about it in a Brazilian newspaper. And what they're trying to do is just kind of start a little bit of like a farm of players, like trying to get really good talent and poach good talent in Brazil and getting to that market to possibly even poach really good players, youth players, and bring him here into the MLS sphere. And I think that's a smart move. It's kind of like a performance center in a way, if you like WWE. They're trying to build kind of that in Brazil, which I think it's pretty neat. And so Orlando is following its own beat following the beat of his own drum, essentially, and I like that. I always like that about the club and about the new ownership. But depending on what the results are, again, I truly believe that the team needs some players are definitely going to leave, and we gotta spend on more ready, like MLS ready players, or players that are top players in the MLS, not necessarily a Messi, but players that have the experience to play the league. And we can boost the core that we have with those players in key positions. Like definitely the center back position is going to be one that is going to have to be revamped. Um, Also, if Alex Freeman leaves, you're going to need a top right back, because a lot of Oscars, as you can see, you're going to need another right back that is more of like an Alex Freeman type um, physical specimen. I mean, this kid's like, he doesn't get tired. You know what I mean? He goes in the attack. Obviously he's not perfect. He has some flaws here and there, but his flaws this year have been very minimal, even with the national team. This kid's gonna get far. I mean, we're not gonna see him for a long term here. So Orlando needs to be proactive to start already looking for the new faces of this Orlando City coming up next year. So just a little for a food for thought. Let's go and read some comments. What are people saying? Maring is the left back. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I don't know about Marin, man. I think we gotta give him one preseason. I mean, I feel like some people just throw the towel of some players, and they haven't really even we haven't even seen him for a long time, and we were close to throw the towel on Schlegel. We were close to even throw the towel and kind of say, hey, Robin Jansen, we definitely threw the towel against like a lot of the players, Kyle Smith, Martin Ojeda. I remember when people, when even John wanted to get rid of Martin Ojeda, he said, oh yeah, I think Martin Ojeda needs to be sold next season. And look at Martin Ojeda. So I think that it's just for some players, it takes time. But I do see the pressing need of winning now, which is what the fans want. And I think that the club has the money to, and the ownership group has the money to make it happen. Not necessarily by getting a Busquets or getting like a Heung-min Son. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about players that have the stats, that have scored maybe 5 assists, 10 goals, in, let's say, if they're wingers or forwards from a respectable league, like maybe a Brazilian league, league in Europe, like Denmark, or even the Bundesliga 2. Players that want to come to the MLS and they're ready to go, kind of like what Pasalic, the effect that Pasalic has had, the fact that those are the type of signings that if Orlando gets 2 or 3 more Pasalic on in different positions, I think Orlando will be swell, and I think that's what we need. Players that are ready to go. Um, so with that being said, and thank you for your support. About 17 people live, and I didn't even promote the show today because I was so busy. Then thank you for your kindness. I'm going to discuss what's happening against Columbus. So let's talk about Columbus. So um, this is this game against Columbus. A lot of people in Columbus call it a little bit of a rivalry. It is kind of like a balanced one. Orlando has the slight edge in 12 wins to 9 of Columbus in 25 meetings since Orlando came into the MLS. 4 draws. In 2025, when Orlando won 3-1 away, right, at Lower.com Field. And prior in 2024, there was a 2-1 win in September, and then a 4-3 in May of 2024. Orlando has won 3 of the last 5 meetings, and it's averaging 3.5 goals per game in the series. So Orlando scores against Columbus over 3 goals a game, or gets close to at least. So Orlando, to me, can leverage home field advantage at Interco Stadium, certainly with the wall present. So packed stadium, they're gonna make them feel it 100%. Disrupt Columbus build up from the back because they built all their attack through the back. You got to target the flanks. You got to use the wingers like Angulo and Pasalic to exploit the wing backs on counters, or even you can have Alex Freeman just driving down. Also set piece. Orlando's aerial threats like a Robin Jansen. Hopefully this time he doesn't miss it. Alex Freeman, we saw it already what he can do. If we take care of those set pieces and we don't fumble the ball as we did against Cincinnati with a lot of the chances, Orlando can capitalize on Columbus. They've conceded defensively, this Columbus's backline, at least 2.2 goals per game. So this could be either a 4-2 or it could be a clobbering by Orlando. So 2 points, 2.2 goals per game they concede. Now, are we going to see Araujo back? Are we going to see Gervais back? More than likely, we're going to see Gervais and Edward Atuesta. I do want to say though, and I want to show you guys, is you guys are going to have a kick at this. Um, if you're listening, so a lot of people didn't notice, but I did, which I thought it was hilarious. Shout out to the Orlando City Kit Man, because we have Joran Gerbert. Joran Gerbert. I disagree. This is the opportunity for Duncan. But for what? What do you? I mean, yeah, it's the opportunity for Duncan, but Duncan needs to take the opportunity and score. So we'll see what Duncan can do for sure. I just think that Orlando has put all eggs in Duncan's basket, and Duncan needs to deliver. Enough of excuses now. I think Oscar has taken the beating for everybody in that team this year. So I think Duncan needs to go back to be the Haaland of the Heartland. I agree with you on there. Let's see if he's able to take the opportunity. But Joran Gerbert, I thought that was hilarious. But kudos to the Kitman right there. Um, again, um, aside of we already talked kind of set piece, the flanks, the midfield control, the defense. And Orlando, I think, has done a really solid job. I mean, a team that Orlando needs to continue with that 4-2-3-1 formation and able to absorb the pressure and hit on the break, just like they did back in July. So absorb pressure and hit on the break. I think that's what they need to do. Now, Orlando has a really good. I think they need to give the fans, a great win. I think this upcoming home games for Orlando are going to be crucial, and good thing that they're at home. And I think you guys are going to make a hell of a difference. I think hopefully the wall and the atmosphere in the stadium makes them convert the chances efficiently. Now we need to also take a look into what Columbus could do against Orlando, and they're definitely going to use. And I did analyze this a little bit. I feel like Nagby is gonna always be a little bit of troublemaker, especially in the mid, because he pivots to kind of evade the high press of Orlando City, and then kind of Diego Rossi becomes very influential, especially in 1v1s. He's cooked a couple of our players, so it is important for Orlando to be so Jerbe needs to have another masterful game as he gave us before he got injured a bunch of times. Now, also, Columbus is a team that they do the counter press, which is forcing errors from the turnovers Orlando gives away in the midfield. And one person, and again, I don't want to be negative, but somebody that I did notice the past few games that I know that they want to do the tiki taka and pass the ball and all that stuff and look, but Edward Atuesta sometimes overpasses the ball, holds the ball too much, and loses the ball quickly. And that to me it could set up with good players that counter press that Columbus is so known for. Force error from Orlando's midfield, and then Columbus away XG, it's a very solid right now. So if you go and look into the XG and the XYs and all of that, it is possible. A possibility of a draw in this game, it is possible, but that will put a lot of pressure on Orlando Um, that will put a lot of pressure in Orlando if it's a draw at home, because it literally forces you to conquer Canada. You have to be Vancouver, which right now it's hot, and you have to conquer Toronto. And those are a must 6 pointers. But if Orlando focuses on converting their chances efficiently, I feel that this game could go 3-1 Orlando or a 2-1 Orlando. They're gonna score one. I know for a fact. We're not playing with Schlegel. There's going to be some sort of miscommunication here and there. They're gonna put one in. It's just Orlando needs to score their chances efficiently. So when Ruben Perez says about Duncan McGuire, uh, uh, he's completely right on that sense. It's time for him to take the ball and ball out. This is the reason why Ramiro is gone, and the front office felt comfortable. Oscar felt comfortable in Duncan and what he can do, and so the ball is in his court. He needs to show. We can forget about Ramiro Enrique, and the fans are not even going to talk about him because he's going to be doing backflips against Columbus, against Toronto, and against Vancouver. So, uh, when it comes to how the game is going to look and what kind of how do I feel the atmosphere is going to be, clearly it's going to be a great atmosphere in Interco Stadium. I feel like it's going to be a high scoring affair. I think it's going to be a maybe three, or maybe it's going to be a 3-2. It could be but I think both teams have the opportunity of scoring 100%. I think Orlando's going to come out pressing hard, especially with the home energy going. Ojeda and Pasalic, they have to be key in attack. Also, Duncan McGuire. I have a feeling that Luis Muriel may start in this game. Um, I think it's going to be counters with fluid rotations happening, which is what we've seen. So, and I'll do my lineup in just a moment. But in a 4-3-2-1, the 3 before the 9, so the left wing, the right wing, and the 10 switch positions. So they need to continue doing that, make it a little bit more fluid, um, but do it efficiently, right? So sometimes we'll see Pasalic on the left, or sometimes we'll see Angulo on the right. You know what I mean? So um, both defenses could be leaky. Orlando comes without Schlegel. But I have a feeling that if the midfield has a great game, it's going to ease up the pressure of the back line. And again, playing against a Darlington Nagby, I will probably even go to having a Tuesta sub and pull a double, two defensive midfielders, maybe a Gervais and a Cesar Araujo if he's healthy. But it's definitely going to be quite of a struggle. Now you have to understand Dagger Dan is also could play a part in the back line as well, and we'll discuss it in just a moment. But Darlington Nagby is going to be a big player. I feel like is going to dictate a lot of the recovering the ball and going on the counter for Columbus. So Orlando needs to be really focused on honing down on that midfield. Let's read some comments, and then we'll go to the lineup. Brecalo center back, Marin left back. I don't know. I don't know if Oscar sees Marin as a left back. It's a possibility, and that is the most commonsensical. But knowing Oscar, we'll see. But I like that. I like that. I think Marin. It's a tremendous talent. It's just that it hasn't had the chance to shine just yet. Let's go ahead and do the lineup for Orlando. And after this podcast, we're going to have also the Pride Pod, so stay tuned for that. So let me go here. There you go. So this is Orlando City. So it's gonna be a 4-2-3-1. So it's gonna be like that. So we're gonna have Ojeda here for hold on. Uh, 4-2. 4-2-3-1. Right there. So Ojeda is going to be your 10. A twist is going to be here. I think what's going to be obvious is Duncan coming as a starter. I think Oscar is going to probably keep that. Now we can go. I feel this should be this way. Schlegel out, Brekalo as the center back, with Freeman on the right, Pasalic right here, and then right here we should have, like my friend Ruben Perez says, the common sense choice will be uh, Adrian Marin. Wait, that this will be the most. This is the common sense way, and I don't know if Oscar's going to go for this, but this will be this is the reason why they brought Marin in. So, I know it's Columbus, and I know for a fact Columbus is going to try to hit his side because they're probably going to feel more confident to hit his side. So he needs to have, if he starts, he needs to have a 10 out of 10 game. I mean, this is the game in which Marin needs to like be the man if he wants to start that way. I think Smith in the mid is going to give him a little bit more of like a defensive prowess. I think he has had a really good job. Also, you can put Dagger Dan. Like, look, Oscar could do this too. Oscar could take Marin out, put Kyle Smith here, and then he could have also Dagger Dan Thorhalson right here. Now, there's been times I think Thorhalson going in transition. He's a player that's very versatile. Um, I don't know how I feel having them right there, but I think or Brekalo can stay on the right and Smith could be another center back, literally, and we could see Thorhalson here, you know. But personally, if you ask me, what I would like, I would like this. I would like this right here, right? And then Pasalic here, Smith and Atuesta right there. And then here I would put Adrian Marin. I think I'm going to go with what Ruben Perez did. And up top is going to be Duncan McGuire. So this will be my lineup. Will be Galese up top, Freeman, Brekalo, Jensen, Marin, Atuesta, and Kyle Smith, Swiss Army knife. Pasalic on your right, Angulo on your left, Ojeda as your number 10, and right up top, the Hound of the Heartland, Duncan McGuire. And this is the reason why I feel Duncan is going to get the start over Luis Muriel. And it's simple. The reason why Duncan will get the start over Luis Muriel, I feel it's a tactical move. Because as you guys can see, Muriel can recover the ball or even press when Columbus is trying to, you know, it's near his aerial vision. He's able to try to get the ball, but he doesn't have the physicality that Duncan has. Duncan, you've seen him run back and defend. You've seen him in the midfield and defend. You've seen him on the wings and defend. He's a player that he gives you that same thing Ramiro was doing in a way, but he's a little taller, a little stockier, and but he has the stamina, and I think that's one of the things that Muriel does not have. I think Muriel is going to be the closer. So I think Oscar is going to trust Muriel to be the closer and to close out the game in the event that, it's running a little bit at it's on a 1-1 draw or in a 2-2 draw. I think Muriel can come in and steal it. But I feel confident in this lineup. Galese up top, Freeman as your right back, Brecalo, Jensen, and Adrian Marin. Two in the middle will be Edward Atuesta and Kyle Smith. As your left wing is going to be Ivan Angulo. On your right is going to be Marco Pasalic. And as your 10, Martin Ojeda. And right up top as your number 9, Duncan Maguire, the Hound of the Heartland. There you go. So, again, we will be back with Loud and Proud Orlando, I'm sure, next week. I think we're gonna have another Loud and Proud Orlando during this week, kind of to preview and to talk a little bit more in depth. I'm gonna see if I can get a guest, maybe another fellow podcaster from Columbus. So just check out our social media outlets. We are Loud and Proud Orlando. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, also on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando or LP_podcast. And no, we thank you for your support. Without you, there's no us at all. And I kind of want to bring this into your attention here and tell you that we are literally, I think, over 40 episodes already of Loud and Proud Orlando. So we're definitely, at least this year. So we're very happy that you guys have keep supporting us and supporting the pod. And we wish we could be, running for the shield. But hey, we take everything very positive. And I think there's still a lot of things to improve. But in the end, this is a tough sport. And we need to definitely continue our being PMA, positive mental attitude, till the end. And no, we definitely appreciate your appreciate what you do with your comments and everything, especially myself. I want to kind of show you a little bit of what we're going to be. Hold on, where's right here? There you go. So you can check us out. We're Loud and Proud Orlando. Again, yeah, here's our Instagram. No, never mind. That's not there. That's not our Instagram. But if you Google us and you put Loud and Proud Orlando, right here, our website, our YouTube, our X, all of that. Our Apple Podcast, you can give us a rating, a 5-star rating. We truly appreciate you. All of our videos, Spotify as well, Facebook. So we thank you for your support, as it makes a hell of a difference. Again, my name is Luis Carlos Pineda. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you guys this week. If you are just now tuning in, rewind it and start from the beginning. It's been a very insightful podcast today. And again, thank you, and vamos Orlando. Have a good one, guys.